Diesel fuel consumption accounts for 20% of supply chain costs and up to 47% of supply chain profit variability. Diesel engines are also responsible for 451 million metric tons of CO2 emissions every year. Our team has designed a process which solves both of these issues at once. By raising methanol to supercritical temperatures and pressures, we can create an inexpensive biodiesel that's not only good for the environment, but has the potential to save the industry $20 billion every year. Hi, I'm Casey McGinnis.
I'm Melissa Moy.
I'm Thomas Newski.
And I'm Sarah Spencer. Currently, companies such as ExxonMobil and Shell have started renewable initiatives to produce biodiesel. However, they are limited to lab-scale production. Our supercritical methanol process allows us to produce biodiesel more efficiently than current industry standards. This has never been done before, as commercial supercritical processes serve niche industries such as fertilizers and essential oils. By utilizing waste cooking oil, we reduce our raw material costs by 80%, and our process saves $2 million in utilities cost every year. If our process is brought to the market, we could potentially displace up to 39.2 billion gallons of diesel that is normally consumed by the supply chain and distribution industry. Our process is not only good for the environment, it's good for your wallet.
So the traditional process for making biodiesel uses expensive catalysts to increase production rates. However, impurities in the cooking oil used, such as residual food waste, can damage these catalysts. This forces companies to spend upwards of $100 million every year to replace them, resulting in high biodiesel prices. This is where our supercritical process comes into play.
So our process completely removes the need for a catalyst. And what this does is, at first, it saves us $177 million per year per plant on raw material costs. On top of this, our conversion rate is 192 times faster than alkali catalyst production, which is very common in the industry. We have designed a tubular reactor, which makes our process very efficient and productive.
This profitability stems from the fact that we've been able to eliminate 5 pieces of equipment key to traditional biodiesel production. This saves us $750,000 in equipment costs and $2 million in operating expenses annually. This allows us to market our biodiesel at 50 cents less per gallon than diesel available at the pumps today. The American Trucking Association estimates that $104 billion was spent on diesel in 2018 alone. At 50 cents less per gallon, that equates to $20 billion of savings for industry.
So we are asking for $600,000. $200,000 of this will be to conduct a pilot scale plant, and this will go towards reactors, distillation columns, and pumps, among other equipment. On top of this, the other $400,000 will be used for patents, overhead, and other measures to secure our intellectual property. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to your questions.
Hello, who are your main competitors for this service or product?
Currently, right now, as far as the supercritical process, this has never been done on the industrial scale. But right now, the current biodiesel companies, they have to accept government subsidies in order to maintain competitive, and even then, they're not as price competitive to diesel. So our main objective is to be able to have a diesel or a biodiesel fuel that is 50 cents cheaper than current diesel that is offered right now at the pump. Because then if the consumer has more variety and options, then we can allow for better supply chain and distribution management.
Are there any changes that need to be made to the legacy equipment in order to run this type of fuel, both at the pump and also with the machinery?
So biodiesel is actually one of the very few alternative energies that it's a drop-in fuel. So you don't need to change anything about the engines that are currently in existence. Truck drivers just have to drive up to a gas station and put it right into their truck.
And just back on competition, how do you think about the competitive factor versus electrification of trucking?
Says the guy who works at Tesla.
There's definitely room in the industry for both, especially right now, electric trucks like the Tesla Semi. We need an alternative for right now, something a little bit in the short term before we can realize that electric world of the future.
Also, to add on top of that, there needs to be existing infrastructure. For biodiesel, we can easily integrate that in current petroleum and petrochemical industries, whereas with electric vehicles, you have to build the charging stations, and that's a lot more work. And for us, we really want to integrate this technology as soon as possible.
Very well done, guys. Thank you.